Everyone, more competitive deck testing for me to bring to you. This one is the standard prepaid kit deck versus Rush Boyroid. Now, as you can see from my opening hand, I am testing Crescentus in prepaid kit. I think it is a relatively good choice. It's good tech against Blue Sun in case they get their oversight AI off. It's good tech against, it's decent against RP if you can lock down the economy. And yeah, Crescentus is only one influence, and you can easily break ice routines. So why not? Alright, so he installs his first 3 ice and proceeds to install 2 assets or agendas. I'm pretty sure I cannot contest them because I do not have the necessary SMC, so I'll let him score the first one, which is a beta test. And that was horrible because the other card in there was probably a Jackson Howard. So he got a dream combo off, and the only good news for me is that it completely misfired. No ice. Thank goodness. If he had rest ice there, I could be in a lot of trouble this game. So, yeah, that's fine. I force him to reshuffle with Jackson, and life goes on. Now I try his R&D. I'm trying to hit his central servers, force him to rest ice, and ensure that, threaten him. Because if he doesn't rest ice, I'm going to destroy his stuff. And there's a very good chance, judging by the way he's playing this deck, that there's biotic labels involved, and he doesn't want that trash with him. So I run his remote, and yeah, this is not very good news for prepaid kit. All three important servers are locked with code gates. So here I decide to play my Cyber Cypher in hand on the remote because I sense an agenda there and I was dead right. Well, I was forced to make that play because he had 4 credits. The Quandary was very cheap to res, so yeah, if I didn't check the remote, I could be in for a world of hurt. So I had to do it, and it paid off. So that swung 2 points in my favor and 2 points away from him. This should give me enough breathing room to bring this game to the late game, which should give me the advantage. Because looking at it, he's running all the cheap binary ice. And I can deal with the next ice with Parasite Recursion. So yeah, I draw into a Lucky Find, which is great news. No prepaid voice packs yet, which is very annoying, but this should be enough credits to last me for a while now. And my only concern right now is that I cannot get into all 3 servers at the same time, which is a pain. I really do want to get to all 3 servers because I know his hand is flooded with agendas, and there might be biotic labels in there. So I run it and I see a Quandary, which is unfortunate. That's not worth trashing. So in the meantime, he scores a domestic sleepers. That's very good for me because it means that he's not installing ice, which means I can keep running his hand and trash his Archive Marines. This is a very important card to trash because it can recur biotic labels, which you do not want. So I'm abusing the fact that Cyber Cypher only takes 1 credit to break the IQ. So far so good. And I'm going to install this Crescentus. I'm looking to use it on the IQ, but it will work on Bioroid Ice as well. Alright, I play a quality time and I see 3 Shower Gamble, so wow, that's amazing. So I do run his hand with the Dirty Laundry to get rid of cards. In the meantime, I do de-res his IQ. Now that he's stocking up cards in hand, it's going to cost him a lot of money to res the IQ, which will only cost me 1 or 2 credits to break. It won't be worth it for him. So instead of trying to contest me, he's going to try to get a remote going instead. He has quite a few credits here, so I'm going to take a gamble that that's not a sentry, play the barrier breaker, and run his remote. Alright, he shows me the paper wall. I'm just going to break through everything. And he shows me a Jackson Howard. Very well. At least I get to scout out what kind of ice he's playing on the server. And so far, as you notice, runs are very cheap. He's not even going to bother raising the IQ on me. So my runs are not taxing at all, and I draw into a Lucky Find. So that's great news. Bad news is, he has Biotic Label, and now he scores out his 5th agenda points. He has already clicked Domestic Sleepers earlier, the last turn. So now I really need to put the pedal to the metal. Yes, this is crucial time for me right now. 1 more agenda will win him the game. I can allow him to go 1 more turn because he cannot win this turn. Yeah, he's not HB Engineering the future, which means he needs 7 credits at least to score the winning agenda. So here I set up again. Hopefully he doesn't have a Biotic Label or a 3-2 agenda. Turns out that's the case. Very lucky for me. So in that case, he's going to draw more cards. As you saw, he spent his first click drawing, which means I have the time to legwork him. So this is quite crucial. I want to sweep his hand. He has 4 cards. I see 3 code gates. And next, I run his remote, making sure that he's not trying to sneak an agenda out. Alright, he shows me a guard, so I'm forced to trash all my programs except for the code gate breakers because I ran out of MU. That's what happens when you don't draw Astrolabe early enough. And I find an NEPD contract. He was probably trying to score that using Biotic. Thankfully, I came in time to stop it. So that set me back a couple of credits, but nothing's more important than stopping him from getting the game-winning agenda. Over to my turn. So you see, that's the problem with not being able to access R&D at all. I should be locking down his R&D this game, and it would be so simple. He only has an X bronze there. But the reason I couldn't do this was because, well, in theory, if you can lock down his HQ and remote, there's no problem because this means that they cannot score agendas in remotes, and they cannot hold biotic labels in hand because you have imp. That was the idea in theory, but in practice that didn't happen. Somehow he managed to get the biotic label Vitruvius out, and that was huge. I have no idea where he got the biotic label from, but you remember I swept his hand. If there was a biotic label there, it was going to be trash. If there was an agenda there, it would be mine. I couldn't find it. So, yeah, this is bad news. And worse, because I cannot lock down R&D, he's just going to overdraw with Jackson, which means that he could have the game-winning agenda and biotic in hand right now. I have to take my chances right now. I have to go in R&D. So I nearly decided to scavenge the Cypher on R&D, knowing that he probably has a code gate there, but he shows me a quandary after I face check it, so I'm just going to use Parasite instead. That saves my Cyber Cypher on HQ. So yeah, he definitely should have installed a next bronze there, which he had in hand. Instead, he decided to go for the quandary because it was cheaper and paid the price. Now R&D is wide open, which allows me to make a bigger play, which is Maker's Eye into R&D. But first, I get to access 1 card. I'm still 2 agendas away from winning. Now I'm 1 agenda away from winning. It's match point. I find an ABT, and so I'm going to win with a Maker's Eye. Well, hopefully. If I don't win here, hopefully he doesn't have the win in hand. I do see a Biotic on the top of the deck, which is a big worry. Will he win? Nope, he can't. He only has 6 credits. So I'm safe for now. I just need to keep track of the number of cards left on top of R&D and go for an R&D dig when the time is right. So there are 2 more cards left on top of R&D that he could draw into. They are not agendas. He's definitely looking for an agenda now. He has the Biotic label. All he needs is an agenda. So right now, I dirty laundry his hand not to destroy the Biotic label. Imp is gone by now. What I need is to get some money because I've used up all my money. So here, does he choose to rest the IQ? Nope. Once again, I get free access into a Sweet Sweep. Well, Sweet Sweep, I've been sitting on very few cards this game, so that's good. That means that he cannot get anything from Sweet Sweep. So here he double draws with Jackson, which means he could very well have found the agenda by now. That's very bad news because I've run out of same old things to recur my legwork. A timely legwork right now could win me the game, but I have no access to my only legwork. So I'm just going to run HQ the hard way and hope to find an agenda. So he does res the IQ, which puts him below the threshold for scoring an agenda. Remember, he needs 7 credits. So I access 1 card, it's a Biotic label. So be it. I can contest his HQ next turn. Right now I need to set up. Hopefully I can get a run on R&D soon enough and get some money as well, because he just res the IQ, which means I have limited number of runs left to make. He lets me through R&D surprisingly enough, and I run and see a Biotic label. Well, he actually scores an agenda with Shipment from Sunset. Yep. If you remember at the very start of the game, he used Shipment from Sunset to score his first agenda. I should have remembered that. With that, he was able to score an agenda even though he was only on 5 credits. That was a miscalculation on my part. Otherwise, I would have played more aggressively on HQ. So big mistake from me, that cost me the game. It was a close fight, but I definitely should have won that game. I could have contested his first ABT by installing the Cyber Cypher on the remote. I chose not to contest the remote at all, and that was my demise. And I should have gone in harder on R&D. Instead, I devoted my efforts to HQ, which reaped absolutely nothing. My imp was completely useless and was overwritten without even using a single virus counter. The Cyber Cypher on the remote was nice, but it wasn't too effective. I should have focused my efforts on R&D. Yeah, Shaper, R&D is the biggest weakness any day of the week. And yeah, not exploiting that led to my downfall this game. Thanks for watching. Happy net running. Goodbye.